Hey guys, Dr. Carroll here. Wanted to make a quick video so whether you're an online viewer or you're a patient, you can know 10 easy things you can do at home to start allowing your lower back to heal faster and faster. Now when you come to the office, our office is triune chiropractic. So triune means 3 in 1. So we look at the body to help it heal nutritionally, structurally, and emotionally. And so obviously this video is going to be geared towards one side of the triangle, the structural stuff. And the main structure we're going to be going over today is the sacrum, the 5 lumbars, which is the green, and the pelvis, which is that whole like bucket that this spine sits on. Very, very important to start stabilizing these structures from a joint mechanics standpoint as well as a muscle standpoint. Muscles move these, so along with stabilizing the structure, we have to stabilize and balance out the muscles. Big common muscles that we're going to look at today is the glute medius, which is here on the side. It sits right on the pelvis there. We have the big glute max, strongest muscle in the body. And that's the butt muscle, right? It sits right over here. So if that muscle is either not as strong as one side or it's under functioning for whatever reason, you're going to have the lower lumbars, L4 and L5, sacrum, SI joint, they're all going to be unstable. And so we need to strengthen these structures in order to help put some stability in these structures. The other thing you're going to notice is we're going to go over core. Core you could break down into 3 different parts. The back part right here, the side part, which is more of the obliques, and then the anterior core, which is going to be more the rectus abdominis. We're going to have an exercise for each one of those parts so you can start stabilizing those. We're going to have an exercise for the glutes on either side in order to start stabilizing those. And we're going to go through a couple range of motion and mobility things so you can have 10 things you can do pretty much every day, as long as you're not too sore, on how to start healing your back faster. So the first thing that we're going to go through is what I would call the pelvic pull-push. It's kind of like a counter torque. What we're seeking to stabilize here is the right SI joint and the left SI joint. Whenever you tweak your back, more often than not, probably 70% of the time, is because one of these joints went out of alignment. This right SI joint was the joint that I first injured when I got adjusted and became acquainted with chiropractic, and that was a game changer for me. So although this doesn't ever substitute a good chiropractic adjustment, it helps to start stabilizing this, and so the body can start fixing it on its own. So the first thing we're going to do is you're going to push towards your knee, and you're going to bring your knee back towards your nose, okay? And then the other side, you're going to be doing the exact opposite. So I'm pulling back on my knee is pushing forwards. So I'm pushing forwards on this right knee, the knee is pushing back into my hand. On the left knee, I'm pulling towards my chest, my knee is pushing away, so you're creating this counter force here. And so you're activating muscles in the back and the front of the pelvis here to lock in those ilium, that pelvis there, okay? So you're going to go push as hard as you can for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rest. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Rest. You're going to do a set of 5 of those. So count for 5, rest, count for 5, rest, count for 5, rest until you get to 5. Then you're going to switch. Do the exact same thing from the opposite angle. My left hand's going to push into my knee's going to push back. I'm going to pull into my chest, my knee is going to push out. Again, activating pelvic muscles on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rest. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, rest. And so you do 5 sets, going the other way, and that's called the pelvic push-pull, which is for the SI joints. So exercise number 2 is going to be to balance the pubic bone. So your pelvis or your lower back, right? It's like a whole bucket. You can see it, right? So if you have an issue in your lower back, sometimes it's not always coming from the low back. Sometimes it's coming from the front. And since I'm making a video trying to help most people most of the time, we need to give as many different variations to help balance this as possible. So these are called the pubic bones, where they meet. That little place right here, you can sometimes palpate it on yourself. It's called the pubic symphysis. We're going to do a quick exercise that's really simple to balance that. You're going to get a ball or a pillow. Theoretically, you could use your hand. But so what you do is you put first your feet together like this. You put the ball between your knees and you squeeze like that for a count of 5. Sometimes you'll feel an audible pop because the adductors, the groin muscles, are pulling on that pubic symphysis here, right? So these are pulling here, and it helps to reset that joint, and of course reset the pelvis, which is going to help your lower back. So what you do is your feet are together like this here, and you squeeze, count of 5, rest, squeeze, count of 5, rest, squeeze, count of 5, rest. You do that for 5 sets. Now, to get all the different variations, because there's a number of different adductors, the next you're going to rotate your feet out like this, so heels together, toes apart. I don't know if the camera can pick that up. Then you're going to squeeze, rest, squeeze, rest. You'll do that for a set of 5. And then you do toes together, heels apart for yet another muscle variation. Squeeze, rest, squeeze, rest, squeeze. Okay? If the lacrosse ball is too much, get like a pillow or some type of squishy ball. Okay? The next part about balancing this pelvic girdle is going to be activating the deep muscles into the side of the pelvis here. And so we call them glute med, but they're also small external rotators of the hip that we're going to be working on, because that can help balance the entire pelvis. So what you need is, this is one of the few things you do need stuff for, you need a band. And they're different color coded. There's medium, there's light, and heavy. So I'm going to use heavy because I've obviously done this and built some strength. Ideally, depending on where you're at, you're going to use heavier and heavier bands as you get stronger. And so what you're going to do is same position here. I actually might even need a heavier one than this at some point, so you can find a band and you can sometimes double loop it. But anyway, start where you are. Put your feet together like this on the ground, because remember the different muscle variations. Hold out here, let it go. Hold out here, let it go. So you're building stability and strength in that lateral glute and that lateral hip. A lot of people have hip issues that are causing their lower backs to hurt. This is going to start addressing that. So you do that, obviously 5 to 10 sets of that. Then you do toes together, heels apart. Same thing, slightly different variation in the muscles. Again, hold for 5 seconds or so, let it go, hold for 5 seconds, let it go. Okay? Then you do heels together, toes apart, same thing. You're building stability there. This band almost isn't tight enough for me, so I actually need a tighter one that I use at home. I just didn't have it in the office. But you get the idea. Okay? And that's number 3. Okay, so the 4th thing that we're going to be able to do for home care of your back is balancing this curvature. So this is going to be a nice stretch less mobilization in your lower back. Notice that the spine has different curves. It has 60-degree curves throughout the spine. The lower back curve actually has a slight extension to it, and with many people with desk jobs, or they're sitting a lot, or maybe they had an injury, they tend to flatten this spine out like that, and some people actually go the other way in what we call a reverse curve. And that is not good on the nervous system because it pulls on the cord, it pulls on the dura. What we needed to do is back to the normal biomechanics, which is a nice 60-degree extension or lordotic curve, okay? Babies develop this when they're first learning to pick themselves up from tummy time. They're pushing themselves up and they're looking around at the world. They're developing the musculature and this lumbar curve. Very important. Also, people that don't have a lumbar curve increase their risk of disc herniation a lot. Okay? So this is how you do it. All you do is you sit up nice and tall, have good posture, shoulders back. Don't have a chair that has a back to it, because what you're going to do is you're going to glide back into extension, glide back to normal. Glide back into extension, glide back to normal. Now 70-80% of patients are going to love this. Okay? 10 to 20% of you are not going to like this. Use common sense. Some people, if they've had a disc injury, right, or if they've had a facet injury in the back, when you glide into extension, it jams that. Your body's not going to like this. You need some healing, call a doctor. Chiropractor preferably for this type of issue, okay? They're going to benefit more from a flexion position, but because I'm making a video for kind of most things, most of the time that involve back pain, this is going to benefit the majority of patients out there. And you should be able to extend without pain. That's just normal biomechanics. So you do 10 of these, right back into extension, engaging the abs throughout to stabilize you, and you shouldn't have any pain with this. If there's any sharp pain or shooting pain, stop. Don't do that. Move on to the next one. Once you do 10 of those, you keep a good posture. You're not going to flex or stay still. You keep in that good posture. You hold that and you go glide to the lateral. You do 10 this way. And you're allowing the ligaments and joints, you go 10 this way next time. You allow them to start to move and get in better positions. Okay? So you do 10 to this side, 10 to that side, 10 to extension. Okay? That's going to help build this curve and balance the 5 lumbar vertebrae as well as the sacrum. So the next one is diaphragmatic breathing. And what I mean by that is your diaphragm or your belly breathing. When you see little babies, they have big, beautiful bellies because they've learned to use their diaphragm as both a breathing muscle because it drops down and a stability muscle because it's part of your core, believe it or not. Most people don't believe that. Not believe it, but most people have been told that because of the way that the musculature of the abdomen and the core, they interdigitate with the diaphragm. So if the diaphragm isn't working, your core almost is never as strong as it should be. Most people, through vanity and through desk jobs or whatever, they breathe with their neck. So all day long, they're using these little muscles in their neck, like the scalenes and the SCMs and upper trap. Shallow breathing, picking up the rib cage. Those little muscles are so little, they're designed for more fine motor, turning your neck. They're not designed to pick up the rib cage and breathe all the time. They're designed to do that maybe during like a sprint or a short burst of intense energy, but they're not designed to do that for 8 or 9 hours a day, just doing this all day. People wonder why they have neck pain. So what we need to relearn and reprogram the mind to do is to start belly breathing, okay? At work, at home, you can do this as a simple exercise. You can do it when you wake up, you can do it in the middle of your day, you can do it when you go to bed. It's also very relaxing. So one you do is you put a hand on your belly, one on your chest, and this is what I do right in the office. You've probably seen me do this if you're a patient of mine. Breathe in and breathe out. People, when they first do this, if they haven't done it, they go like this. Did I do it? I'm like, no, just pay attention. This is why I put the hands here. Because they go, I breathed. I was like, no, that's all chest, okay? We got to do belly breathing, okay? So it's gonna look like this. See how my chest doesn't move? Most people can't do this for a little bit, so they have to retrain, okay? That's kind of level 1. I'm gonna do a more advanced diaphragmatic breathing video another time, but this is level 1. Start there and get good at this, okay? So the next exercise we're gonna be doing is called the bird dog, and what we're seeking to do with this is to create stability of the core. Most people, including the Army, well actually the Army is phasing it out now, think that core exercises are sit-ups, right? Which is flexing the lumbar spine. And if you remember from earlier in the video, flexing the lumbar spine actually weakens this curve and pushes the discs. Where do they go if they're getting pushed into flexion? Back onto the nerves. So core stability is actually developed by learning to stabilize this through movements, okay? So this is a really simple one. So if you look at this, what we're gonna do is opposite arm, opposite leg, okay? So we're trying to stabilize the core. One thing you'll see with people that do this wrong is they go off to the side, okay? And that's not what we want. We don't want to spill it out like that. So really focus on breathing into your core, keeping your core tight, opposite arm, opposite leg, hold for a second, come back, control. Opposite arm, opposite leg, come back, control, okay? The other thing I don't want to see you do is this. See that? I'm hyperextending my back. I don't want to jam this thing, okay? I want it to be stable. Does that make sense? That's the bird dog. So the second core exercise in the series is exactly the opposite of the bird dog. The bird dog helped balance the back of the core. Now we're going to help balance the front of the core, okay? So we're going to get into a position like this, which for many people is enough. They call it triple flexion position. So your arms are flexed here, creating a 90-degree angle. Your hips are flexed here, creating a 90-degree angle. And your knees are flexed here, creating a 90-degree angle, okay? So what you do is you breathe into your belly. Why are we breathing into our belly? Because the better our diaphragm works, the better our core works. The better your core works, the better your back feels, okay? So what you're gonna do is opposite arm, opposite leg, hold for a second, come on back up. One thing that you see with people that do this is they extend their back. Well, you can do that, or you're gonna be chewing up your lower back, and I'd rather you not chew up your lower back. I wanna help your lower back. So what you wanna do is breathe into your belly. Keep your back flat on the ground. Don't arch it. Bring it like this, come on back up. Bring it like this, come on back up. When this gets boring, grab some weights, okay? Grab weights in your arms, bring it like this. It's gonna challenge the core to stay strong through here. And then bring it back, right? And then bring it back. Do a set of 20 of those. Rock it. So we just did 2 videos. We did one for the front of the core, one for the back. Now we got to do the side of the core. So we have 3 parts of the core. We have the front, the back, and the side. The bird dog was for the back. The dead bug is for the front, and now we're going to do side plank or side bridge, which is for the lateral core, the obliques, internal, external obliques, okay? So this is how you set it up. Bring your elbow under your shoulder. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this, because guess what? It's going to hurt your shoulder, okay? You're going to start from your knees. I treat all sorts of people in here, so some people are only strong enough to start from their knees. Some people are athletes. They start from their feet. I'm just going to show this one on your knees, and then when you feel strong enough, go from your feet, because that's ideal. Core, the amount of core stability you need to prevent lower back pain, the research shows you need 63 seconds of hold from here. So your goal on each side, doing this on both sides, right, because you have two side cores, is to be able to hold this for a minute, okay? So you come up here and hold, okay? It's not fancy. I don't want to see this. I don't want to see this, right? I just want to see this. Your hips are stacked, my shoulders are stacked, my neck's in this position. You're not like this. You're not like this. You're nice and straight, okay? It's kind of boring, but you should be able to hold that for a minute. When it becomes too easy to hold it for a minute on your feet, I need, you know what I mean? I need that to hit the ground, but so you go like that, okay? And you hold that for a minute. Once you build up to that, just monitor that, okay? And that's a side plank. Just showed you videos for the side of the core, the front of the core, and the back of the core. The other insanely important muscle to stabilize your lower back is the booty, okay? That big glute max sits right here. It just stabilizes this entire lower back. A really simple way of starting to activate this muscle, create stability and strength in it, is to lay on your back, and all you're going to do is you're going to hold your toes up, push down through your heels. The reason we do that is because it uses less hamstring, forces the brain to use more glutes, okay? Because people will do this and they'll get like a Charlie horse. I bring up their toes and they get less of a Charlie horse because they're forcing their body to use their glutes, okay? So you come up like this, hold for a second, come on back down. Some people will feel like they need their arms here, that's fine, but as you start getting better at this, I want to see arms right here. Okay, so you're going to hold right here for a second, drop it back down, come on back up here for a second, drop it back down. When this gets too boring, do single leg. Come on back up, come on back down. Just flip it, come on back up, come on back down. What a lot of my patients will notice is one leg is stronger than the other. Like they'll be like, oh, the right's so easy, and then they do the left and they're like, what? They're like, oh, that was harder. Well, guess what? Do another set on the weak leg because I want symmetrical strength in that lower back. I don't want your right side to be stronger than your left. I want similar strength. This is one way to tease it out. That's the glute bridge. So that's Dr. Carroll's 10 things that you can do at home to balance the structure in your back and remove the interferences that are pinching on those nerves and causing you back pain. If you have any more questions, comment below. If you or your loved one wants to see me for a visit and evaluate and treat you specifically instead of having more of a general video, give the office a call, 508-810-0220. Take care. Bye.